basics, right? The basics of how the heart is set up, atriums, ventricles, your tricuspid valve, and your bicuspid valve, right? We already know that there's a septum here. And in terms of electrical conduction, we know that there's an SA node up here. And we know that there's an AV node down here. Right? And there's intranodular tracts. And this goes down into the bundle of His, into the bundle of branches, and those Purkinje fingers squeeze, right? That's how it's supposed to work, at least. So our SA node again, how many beats per minute? How many? Let me know. 60, okay, 60 to 100, cool. 60 to 100. AV node lets in how many? 40 to 60. Very nice, very nice, very nice. And basically, that's how it's supposed to work, right? So let's talk about what happens when things break down. So let me get my study guide here. You have different parts of the heart, your atriums, right? You have your AV node, basically your AV septum, right? Cool. We're just talking basic anatomy. Then you got your ventricles. Now what happens when things start to break down? You can have atriums firing too fast, SA nodes firing way too quickly, all over the place. Something called AFib, atrial fibrillation. It's almost like the 4th of July in your heart. That SA node is like that machine gun. It's just shooting out all these electrical charges. Boom, 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 boom. All over that right atrium. And that AV node is now expected to pick up the impulses, and transfer it down into the ventricles. So thank God that we have an AV node, because between let me see here. Between 350 and 600 beats per minute atrial fibrillation. I think I got that one wrong the last time. I always mix that up. Atrial fibrillation, 350 to 650 impulses from that SA node, shooting out into the atrium. It's not good. So thank God we have that AV node, kind of like that border control, that says, hey, I'm not going to let all 600 of those impulses in. I'm going to kill my ventricles by doing that. I'm just going to contract my ventricles so much, and we're not going to get perfusion, we're not going to get oxygen to the rest of the body. So, good thing that AV node's there to block those impulses. Next thing, guys, we have atrial flutter, a flutter. Now, this one is like someone lit a box of fireworks off in that right atrium. In those atriums themselves. Because not only do you have impulses coming from all over the atrium, from all these little pacemaker cells in the atrium, sending out charges all over the atriums. The atriums are trying to contract. And it acts a little more succinctly than AFib, because A-flutter actually has a little sawtooth to it. And I'm going to show you guys this in our atrial lecture. This is just an overview real quick. But one thing you should know the difference is that atrial flutter, you have 250 to 350 beats, basically impulses being sent out per minute. So significantly lower than our atrial fibrillation. One way I like to remember that is that fibrillation, you cannot see a P wave. It's like fibbing out, okay? No P wave. Flutter, it looks like a sawtooth. And I like to say flutter because I like to remember it by sawing something. And when you saw, little wood chips flutter off. And I don't know if you guys ever sawed a piece of wood, but you see like little wood shavings just kind of fluttering off. And that's how I remember flutter, because the EKG itself, you'll see something that looks like this, and then a QRS. And then you'll see a flutter, like a sawtooth, and then a nice QRS. So that's those. Next, guys, in our AV nodes, we have something called bundle branch blocks. And now you guys know that the bundle branch blocks, finally, are our bundle branches extending from the bundle of His. Remember that viper? So as that viper spreads its fangs, each one is a branch that is probably blocked for whatever reason. Let's see. In the bundle branch blocks, you can have a right bundle branch block or a left bundle branch block. Basically, right side being blocked or the left side of the bundle branch being blocked. You can also have a first degree block, a second degree block, and the most deadly, a third degree block. And that really sucks because it's not good. Obviously. But I'll go into that in our upcoming lectures, guys. So our ventricles, what can happen wrong with our ventricles? The two deadliest rhythms, the two most shockable rhythms, V-fib and V-tach. So, why are the ventricles the two most deadliest rhythms? Well, you have to think about it. What do the ventricles do? The ventricles squeeze to provide oxygen to the rest of the body, right? That left ventricle squeezes that afterload, pushing out all of that blood into the body through that aorta. Oxygenating, perfusing. So if that ventricle is not squeezing, you're pretty much suffocating yourself. And that's really what's happening with ventricle flutter. So, patients who present with ventricle flutter and V-tach will often be have an altered level of consciousness. Most of the time, be clean out. AO times 4. Alert and orientated times 0. They're going to be unresponsive usually. If they are awake, they're going to be very lightheaded. They're not going to be themselves because there's no oxygen being perfused. And I don't know if you've ever held your breath for a long time, but you start getting very anxious too. Your body wants air. And so really the only way to really fix these guys is to either shock them or give them pharmacological drugs that help realign your ventricles and get it back to baseline. So out of all these rhythms, this is really the majority of what goes wrong in the heart. Pretty much the majority of what you need to know for your test. Let's go into our first one, our atrial fibrillation and our atrial flutter. Alright, let's do it.